Hey, this is Arthur King, and in this short video presentation, we're going to be covering hypnotic hack number 3, discovering someone's MIV. So what is MIV and why is it important? MIV stands for most important value, and the reason it's important is because it's the value that people use to make decisions. So how can knowing someone's MIV help you hypnotize, influence, or persuade them? If you know what their most important value is, then you can determine the criteria on which they will make decisions. For example, let's use an example from the world of dating. Suppose you're in a club one night and you're looking to meet someone. And let's suppose you're not necessarily looking for a long-term relationship. Now, if you happen to meet someone there that is just looking to have fun for that night, how hard would it be to convince them that you are the person that they're looking for, provided that you're fun, of course? Should be a no-brainer, right? Now compare that to meeting someone who is looking for a long-term commitment. What are the chances that you will have the same result with this person as the first? Can you see that it will be a much harder sell to the second person because their criteria is a lot different than the one who is just looking to have fun? Let's take another example. Suppose you're a salesperson and you're selling the safest widget on the planet. Now suppose the MIV of the buyer is price. In other words, the buyer wants the cheapest price no matter what. If you as a salesperson keep pitching safety, but the buyer is only interested in the lowest price, can you see how you are wasting your time? Now, if the widget that you're selling happens to be the lowest price, then you could switch and talk about your price at that point. But if not, then you're hosed. What is the MIV of your boss or employer? Do they value productivity, independence, communication, timeliness, attention to detail? Suppose they value communication, but one of your highest values is productivity, and maybe you don't always take the time to communicate regularly with your boss because you're being productive. Can you see how this can lead to conflict between you and your boss, especially if they haven't articulated to you what their MIV is? So how do you find out what someone's MIV is? You ask. So what would you say to someone in the club? How about these for some conversation openers? So, what brings you to the club tonight? Are you looking for a future husband or wife tonight? Are you looking for Mr. Right or Mr. Right now? Did you want to go home with me tonight or would you rather get to know me first? And based on their answers, you go from there. Now, of course, I'm having some fun with the questions, but you get the idea. What would you say to the buyer who only wants to buy the cheapest widget? So let me make sure I understand you, Mr. Buyer. You're telling me that regardless of safety, reliability, and performance, the most important thing to you is buying the cheapest widget. Mr. Buyer says, well, I want it to be reliable too. I don't want to have to keep calling you to come out and fix the widget. And you say, so okay, in addition to price, reliability is important to you as well. And the buyer says, well, now that you put it that way, then yes, if I pay for something, then I want it to be reliable. So at this point, you could have a different conversation with the buyer based on the value of reliability. What would you say to your boss? Same idea. Excuse me, boss, what would you consider to be the number one thing to you in terms of what you expect from your employees? And your boss says, I expect them to be here on time and ready to work at 8 a.m. sharp. So you say, so is being on time more important than, say, the quality of the work? And the boss says, well, no, I definitely want the quality of the work to be the best that it can be. That's probably more important than actually being at your desk right at the start of the hour. Now, of course, I'm making this up, but do you see how to ask the follow-up questions? They say their MIV is something, so you ask a question and say, but how does that compare to this? By doing this, you help them to narrow their focus down and really zero in on what their MIV is. And again, once you know this, you have a key advantage in hypnotizing, influencing, and persuading them, provided that you can align whatever it is that you want with their number one value. So the next time you're in a conversation with someone and you're asking for something, find out what the person's MIV is first so that you have at least a fighting chance of getting what you want. And remember, this is just one of 5 hypnotic hacks that you can use to hypnotize, influence, and persuade people. If you found this helpful or want to learn more about the 4 other hypnotic hacks, then check out a short video that I made for you at www.hypnotichacks.com. This is Arthur King, and thanks for watching.